All right, and welcome back to some more Library of Ruina. We are going to finish this game. Come puppets and stuff. I mean, this is the last chapter from what I know. So, well, we're on the second to last chapter, but this one up here, I think is the end, Star of the City. So we just a couple more fights. I'm a little bit afraid of all of these. We can probably do them. Let's take a look at what we need. I don't know. I think what I want to do for this is let's finish all of these, and then we go deal with the abnormalities.
Wait, so you've completed all the rows? Can I look when we look down one more row?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I suppose you've reached that point.
So who do you want to continue with? The puppets, the circus. Who is this? Musicians of Bremen.
Oh, really? Them?
Oh, it was these. Yeah. So follow up on Eugen and Company. Or do we want to follow up on the sweepers? Because now we can choose our next plot.
I mean, we just completed sweepers, so...
Sweepers it is. Book of a Sweeper. I have thousands. Now, I think people said Jan is actually a dude.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah. Hello, Miss Lila. Here's your prescript.
To Lala.
Lala.
Yeah. Put 3 needles in Lily's birthday cake by noon tomorrow. By Lily, does that mean Mrs. Lily who lives next door? I did hear it's her birthday tomorrow.
I'm not sure myself.
But what if she bites one of those needles and gets hurt?
You never know. She might luckily notice the needles before she eats them. Or you could tell her in advance that there are needles in her cake.
Oh, is it okay for me to spoil the prescript for her?
The prescript didn't say anything about it, so it should be all right.
It's strange, though. I've been only getting weird prescripts like this lately. Is there a meaning to this?
If you don't carry out the prescripts, the index won't provide protection. You have a family, right? I hope you can fulfill this one smoothly.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Lee Doc Gu. You've got a new prescript. What? Now? What more am I supposed to do? Sorry, sir, I can't do anything for you even if you cling to me. Now, take a deep breath and read it out. To Lee Doc Gu, play rock, paper, scissors with the third person you meet and play rock. If you win, pull out 59 strands of their hair.
Wait, precisely 59?
Then apply seafood cream pasta sauce with mealworms fed on styrofoam to it 3 times and eat it with a fork. Sick bastards, you're telling me to eat that shit? I had to make risotto out of sewer water and give it to Minji next door just a week ago. They ate it without asking and ended up going to the ER. F this. I'm sorry, all I do is deliver the prescripts.
Whoa. Who's sending these things out?
The Index. It's one of the crime syndicate family groups.
Well, wait a minute. It's the 5 fingers, right?
Yeah.
So the Index is the pointer.
And this was kind of their messenger. They'd given stuff to Sayo. Or they were getting a delivery? I forget. But
so they're getting protection, but yeah, the girl putting needles in a cake, but I suppose, there's nothing to say that she can't warn her or that she even has to eat it. It's just that it has to be put in the cake. That guy's is a little bit more specific and
horrifying. I'd probably tell them, please make me lose. Because again, there's nothing in the prescript saying you can't cheat to lose in the rock, paper, scissors.
Oh. Is it one of those things where please always play paper?
Yeah. I'd love to change this, but I don't have the authority to do that. Everyone faces a test of faith in the prescripts. I hope you can overcome this.
Oh, this is Gloria?
Wow.
Or, wait, is that another one of the messengers? They're wearing the same outfit.
Yeah, must be.
Messenger Jan, long time no see.
Hello, Proxy Gloria. Do you have business with Mr. Lamarcus here too?
Yep, I do. I got a prescript.
Hello, Mr. Lamarcus. Are you there? We just want to talk.
Oh, this won't do. Leave it to me, sweetie. Aha, there you are.
Please. It was a tiny issue. Did this person here, I'm gonna raise my desk. I want to just stand for this episode or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the microphone actually picks this up, which is neat, but...
Maybe?
I don't think it does. Did this person not carry out his prescript?
Nope. So a prescript came down to me, telling me to smash Mr. Lamarcus's frontal lobe.
Oh boy. Usually proxies only receive prescripts on the rare occasion of someone else not carrying out their prescript, Mr. Lamarcus. You're shitting me. Kill the painting you've drawn. Does this make sense to you? Painting was everything in my life, and I smeared my own art with ink, stabbed them, tore them, painted pictures of dead people in so many different ways. I did everything.
Huh? That's a tote simple problem. Just pick anyone from the streets, use them as a model for your painting, and then kill them. Isn't that a no-brainer?
This isn't my fault. It's the prescript being too vague.
Yeah, the prescript was really vague. If someone said kill your painting, I would have assumed what he did, and you make a painting and then you stab it or mar it in some way. But it's not the prescript's fault that you were too dumb to get it.
You sick fucks. I did all I could to live. I relayed numbers to a guy called Riemann. I moved a unicorn plushie to a park. I even found a way to see green from a white wall for high-end. I've been doing so good.
Too bad you couldn't keep it up this time.
I understand that you tried, but...
Once we get a prescript, we should carry it out. No exceptions.
I'm sorry. Hello, Mr. John. Here's your prescript. To John, stand on any three-way intersection at 3:38 tomorrow. Look to the east and wave 7 times. This is really all I have to do to be protected by you guys? No need to pay money like with the other syndicates?
Oh, this poor guy. He doesn't know what he's getting into.
Yep. Yes, that's the case. All you need to do is carry out each prescript accordingly. Sweet. The index really is the best.
No, dude. They are not.
You don't ask for backbreaking fees like the others do. Will you please reconsider? Nothing is truly free in this city. I just have to carry out the prescripts that come to me from time to time, don't I? The nest went under so suddenly, dangerous gangs started prancing about in the residential area, and the other syndicates all wanted me to pay absurd amounts of money or sign these ridiculous contracts. The index is the only one me and my family can count on. If you believe so, you'll be safe as long as you follow the prescripts.
But what if one of the prescripts is like, destroy your family?
Hello, proxies. You have a new prescript to carry out.
Esther, new prescripts, huh? We've been getting prescripts a whole lot more often these days.
Prescripts will be prescripts. It's not like you ever cared about how many prescripts you got.
I have no doubts about prescripts, no. Though we might be seeing a lot of bloodshed with the thumb and the sweepers at this rate. I don't have any blood left in my body to shed anyhow.
If war is what the prescript requires, we shall gladly wage war.
It's our role to act on behalf of the prescript's will. We will carry out the prescripts we've received first. As proxies, each of us will convey the content that prescript messenger Jan gave us to the proselytes? Proselytes, like proselytization?
Yeah.
Proselytites in our family. Or proselytes, not proselytites.
What are the prescripts about this time, by the way?
Let's see. Mine is to extract the spinal cord of 37-year-old people in this nest.
Every 37-year-old in the nest?
Dunno. It's up to the proxy Esther to clarify ambiguities in prescripts, you know. It does target all denizens of the nest. Search for every single person of the specified age and take their spine.
Our familiar's task is to exchange the left leg of the 14th person we come across today with the right leg of the 26th person we run into.
Whoa, wait. Exchange?
Yep.
So, if they just see a 14th person, they take their leg.
Hello, child. Enjoy this adult human male leg now.
Wander, that's terrible. Oh, they're so out there. It actually feels strange to get a straightforward prescript for once. You see, Jan? Eliminate the thumb. No time limits.
This one needs no explanation.
I will send my proselytes to the library as my prescript dictates.
Oh boy, the index is really coming for us, huh?
It seems the prescripts are often vague and need of clarification.
I haven't seen it myself, so frankly, I have no idea no idea how those instructions look. To know who makes the prescripts either.
It's impossible that they could maintain such a massive syndicate following orders that come out of nowhere. What? They probably just get a computer to spit a random string of words out at this point.
Like those fortune cookies I got from the takeout place. Was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
I think literally my fortune was you will get what's coming to you, and it's just like, like it wasn't even I guess it was a fortune, but it was horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was like you'll reap your just reward. No, it was very menacing and it was very strange.
I don't know. First off, the prescripts are not made by sane people.
No.
If they're made by people at all.
Like the stand in the intersection and wave 3 times almost kind of makes sense of like it signals something. But the eat the pasta out of somebody's hair is like, no.
Well, they also had to cover it with, what was it? It was like a pasta sauce made out of shrimp or something, or
yeah. And then there was also the sewer water.
Yeah, the sewer water in the
or the needles in the cake. I mean, I guess the needles in the cake are.
I can understand if it was they had the intent of killing certain people, but it just doesn't. Ugh.
That's the scary part. These prescripts seem random, but they work out in their favor somehow.
And no one knows who's responsible for making them?
Haven't seen anyone that knows, at least. The prescripts are long since appointed as a star of the city.
What's a star of the city?
It's like urban plagues. I think it's like another distortion-y kind of thing.
I can hardly believe that so many are following such an amphigory so blindly.
Amphigory?
Such amphigory.
Nonsense verse, a rigmarole, with apparent meaning, which on further attention proves to be meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much everyone in the city. Like they said, people all just live according to the purpose of life given by someone or something else without thinking twice. Heck, those who are still lost without a purpose would gladly take prescripts.
Even if they require them to yield their own lives.
They're willing to declare war against the thumb because a prescript said so. Life surely isn't the biggest concern for them.
But that's only a conflict between syndicates, not wings. Can it really be called a war?
Hey, ma'am, you have no idea how big they really are. When the hundreds of finger-affiliated syndicates all clash at the same time, the scale in the aftermath is most certainly comparable to that of a war between the wings. This town's gonna be noisy with those fanatics around for a while. Alright, so it looks like this is just a single fight. So what do they got? Each team boosts the power of a random type of offensive die by 2, draw one more page at the start of every act, that's great. And then chance to boost all damage types. They're resistant against blunt. I mean, all things considered, I'll probably just send this group in again. I've had really good luck with them. Okay. Oh.
Yeah,
it's
so
blue though. Why is their number blue? Is it just their faction? Huh.
I don't know.
I guess I've just never seen blue numbers pop up. They're also really out to kit this guy. Oh, they're all rolling 5. Alright, which of these does the most amount of damage? Combat start, all dice. Player plays lose 3 power for the scene, lose power for the scene. Singleton, on use if singleton, all dice on the page gain more power. Gain 4 power. Alright.
What they were saying back there was pretty insightful about how if people can't determine a purpose for themselves, then they would prefer that others dictate it for them. regardless of how good or ill it is for their own disposition.
Yeah. And I think that's not necessarily wrong.
I mean, it's also a motivator, I suppose. A lot of people can't have like self-directed projects, and I know this, and you know this because, you know, we create things, but it's one of those things where, yeah, there has to be that persistent push or drive in order to get it across the finish line, whatever it is.
They're just going for the kill. Oh, good. I can actually stop them this time, though.
Mm-hmm. And so some people may be able to find an occupation that fulfills them in more ways than just providing them with whatever monetary compensation they require for their sustenance and immediate needs, but then also perhaps is something that they believe in. It's very hard to have, what is it? So to be paid well, to be fulfilling, and then also to give you the freedom to pursue hobbies and things outside of it, would those be probably like the major ideals of a job?
Whew.
So what would you say about YouTube as a job?
I mean, I still like it. It has its ups and downs. I don't know how to put it beyond that.
Yeah, because I suppose with those three things, it compensates you well enough. Granted, you have to work to get up to that point.
Yeah.
And it also fluctuates and is kind of indiscernible or unpredictable in that way too. So it's not as steadfast as other occupations would be, where you're expected to be at one level and it can only go up, like you can only get a raise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely ups and downs with monetary compensation. And then fulfillment, I don't know, it can be fulfilling in some ways and unfulfilling in others. One thing that we've both definitely been struggling with is, because we're artists and writers and stuff, we would love to make our own narratives and our own games, and we absolutely love playing ones like this that were created by others and want to promote them and do so with your channel. Like, your channel is pretty much promoting other people's creations. But there's always that hollowness, that feeling of, wouldn't it be nice to get back to making our own creations?
Yep. I mean, I've been writing in that notebook more or less every moment I get of like, hey, if I were to make a game, what would it look like?
Mm-hmm. So games, tabletop RPGs, things of that nature. Looking back into those. Because those offer a little bit more of the creative freedom. And also an outlet for all of our own stories and ideas that we've had. And then also the art that we can create, because we're both artists, and it'd be nice to see more of our work in the world, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's plenty of forces out there being like, no one needs art anymore. It can just be pumped out by machines because we stole it from everyone. Oh, gosh. Absolutely hate this.
I want to make like zines for like adventures in tabletop RPGs, and then also just like a board game, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, just tangible things. That's the other thing too. I've been starting up traditional painting again because I had always grown up drawing exclusively, with pencils and pens. Those were the easiest things to get a hold of. And I always had paper around me. But it was one of those things where getting out of high school and actually pursuing art, it was, everyone does stuff digitally now, right? Especially if you want to do concept art or sci-fi and fantasy illustration for games and films and such. You need to be, proficient in Photoshop and digital painting tools. And while I love the ease with which being able to paint digitally, especially with like a screen tablet, because you still have the feeling of drawing on a surface. The thing about it is, though, victory.
That was quick. Not as lucrative, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, you lose that tangibility of the thing. And, you're one computer crash or a deleted or corrupted file away from just losing all of that work. Also, the value of a digital painting is far less, just because it can be, someone can just right click and save it on their computer and just distribute it all around and try printing it off and stuff. And it's just, I like the idea of having those physical paintings again. And then also, that's something that can't be easily replaced.
Huh. A character is singleton if their combat bookshelf does not have any duplicate pages. Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. I'm probably gonna have to build around that. Ooh, Melketh.
Oh, they have an exclamation point.
What? We could probably do that. Queen Bee, let's see how this goes.
Queen Bee?
Oh boy. All right, Queen Bee, spores. If the character was attacked,
remember the bees that have died for the kin.
Let's see. If the
drones, move.
Character was attacked, inflict spores on all librarians at the start of the next scene. If there are 2 or fewer worker bees alive, inflict spores on all librarians. If a librarian dies while under the effects of spores, spawn a worker bee. Pheromones uses pages that boost loyalty of worker bees. Okay. Balling embrace of death. Queen bee's health falls below that. Loyalty. Target the last foe that attacked the queen bee in the previous scene. Does she spawn? I don't know. We'll find out. What she got? Very defensive. All right. Let's see how this goes. Deal bonus damage equal to target spores.
I can make more drones with this. I like this. Make haste, my minions. We cannot waste a minute.
Shit. This is gonna hurt. Let's see. What do we have?
For like raise your teeth? Why not? They're stingers. I suppose they can munch too.
So I think she's just doing a bunch of defensive die. So we're just gonna let her do that and ignore it. What about this one? 3 to 8, 3 to 8.
I can't tell. Does she have multiple mouths or what's going on?
Maybe. But you. 5 to 9, 3 to 10. Screw it.
But yeah. And so much about creating art isn't just ideating and then producing. It's the intermediary step. It's the act of putting every stroke and making every decision on your canvas or your surface with the mediums that you have. And you can be great with one medium and terrible at another. Granted, there are some principles that carry over between one and another, especially if they're like a dry medium versus a wet medium. Something that's applied with a brush or something that's applied with a thing akin to a pen or a pencil. Or if you're using an oil stick or a pastel or something of those lines. But it's always a persistent struggle. And it's always a challenge. And so much about creating art is about the challenge, overcoming your own deficiencies, learning something new, and then being able to slowly master certain mediums, certain pieces of subject matter. And that can really only be achieved by doing, repetitively, even, over and over again. And so for me, I would still draw in pencil and pen, and I would say that I have very solid grasp with those, but wet mediums? Oh boy. Those, I never feel like I have as much control over them. And that's what digital painting, you always felt like you could undo. You could just easily erase things. If you put down a color and you go, oh, I don't like this color, you can always, use a slider and suddenly you can make something that was yellow-blue. But yeah, with physical media, you have to be very intentional. And, there are some people where they can be a bit more spontaneous and things end up being happy accidents, and no one would be the wiser. They wouldn't know if that was their complete intention or not. And you can still have, there is a beauty to some of the spontaneity of certain mediums, like watercolors, for instance, I'd say. Wouldn't you say that watercolor is a little bit more spontaneous?
Yeah.
It can be put down very deliberately, but there are methods where you do a water wash, almost like a puddle, kind of a very, very light puddle on the paper in an area that you want to have pigmented. And then you put the watercolor in kind of a liquid form into that water, and it spreads so that you have almost a tie-dye effect. It has the feathered edges, and the pigments are denser in some areas and a little bit more diluted in others. And it creates really beautiful effects. But I think the beauty of that is in the kind of natural spontaneity of it. And obviously, it can be a very intentional technique, and people have methods and means to ensure that the pigments are as dark as they need to be in certain areas and that it spreads in a particular way. But yeah, when you start out with a piece of media that you're creating, it always evolves over the course of its creation. Sometimes you can surprise yourself. But yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying more of them. I'm on with acrylics now. I'm familiar with acrylics. But I would like to get into other mediums, because acrylics, kind of like oils, it's, more of like the dense paint. You can keep layering it. I suppose you can undo mistakes by just covering them up. But I like to work with acrylics that's in a way that's a little bit thinner, almost like a combination of watercolor and then denser pigment. And I don't ever want to be really plopping it on the canvas, especially because acrylic is just plastic.
Yup.
And you have to think, oh yeah, what's the ecological impact of having this? I mean, hopefully some of these paintings will be passed down or around for years to come, but it's one of those things where I think when it comes to mediums, I think watercolor is probably one of the more eco-friendly, if you will.
Yeah.
But I was actually thinking about this at one point. When working with graphite, you're working with stone, essentially.
Oh, it's carbon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is carbon. It's graphite. So it's a mineral, if you will. An element, I suppose?
Yeah.
It is on the periodic table, carbon. I don't know what molecular structure it has, at least in graphite form. Carbon has the 4 valence electrons, which make it so malleable. They can attach themselves to so many things, which is why we have carbon-based life forms. including us. But carbon, yeah. So, and then if you have charcoal, that's, you know, the charred remains of wood and other organic materials. I mean, the paper that you're drawing on or painting on, or the canvas, you know, they're also often natural fibers from plants. Various boards, wood, things of that nature. And all the pigments too. Pigments tend to be from metals and heavy metals and other minerals and such, or you have them derived from plant matter. Various dyes and things of that nature. Because, yeah, even with paint, you have, you know, titanium white, cobalt blue. You have, is it magnesium that's used for things like yellow? I thought that it's more purple, at least when it's applied to flame. Or is that a different one? I'd have to look over my paints. Some of them are named after the minerals and the metals and such that they're used with. Others are not. Oh, cadmium is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, because I think you can have cadmium, maybe red or yellow. Back in the olden days, lead was used.
Yeah.
In quite a number of pigments. I think particularly like reds and whites and such could use leads. Ugh. That's why you have to be careful about paint in houses from prior to the 1980s. Could have lead in them.
This might actually be the easiest abnormality I've fought so far. It is comically easy so far.
Are you sure you're not going to kill her and then something else? Oh.
I mean, something bad could happen.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I was reading up on colored pencils recently because I'm going, you know what? Maybe I'd like to try more dry mediums too, so that I'm not constantly pushing around goopy stuff like paint. Or something that's watery.
That's why she's dangerous.
Wait, what is?
Oh, the number of bees that have died for my kingdom. I don't care that a drone has died. I can always make more to fill the...
So hitting her causes spores.
Goodness, you there. Do you know where my drones have gone to?
Yeah, I see what has happened now. I actually made this mildly worse on myself.
To bring my kingdom to greatness, I need more bees.
Okay, I think I've read most of her new lines.
Yep.
But she does have multiple mouths. It is creepy. But yeah, interesting to hear about colored pencils being wax or oil based. And you can actually get really professional looking art with the, if you practice with colored pencils. Colored pencils and clay crayons and the like, unfortunately, have always been frowned upon. People go, no, you know, oils are the only legitimate form of art. But that's just because oil paintings have been around for centuries. There's speculation that some of our modern materials would probably outlast oil paintings, especially oil paintings that have been varnished with varnishes that have yellowed over the years. And then there's also the cracking and other things. But yeah.
Okay, that hurt. Queen actually is a little bit worse, but it's fine.
But you still, yeah.
Yeah, I just burned her down in one turn. Effectively, hitting her applies spores to your characters, which makes it so you take damage every time you attack. And so by hitting her so much right at the end there, it was effectively killing my characters. But it didn't matter because I killed her faster. What? We have another?
Another character?
I don't know, actually. Give me a second. I've got to put something on this character. Do I just do Eugen? Yoink. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Final episode of the Floor of History's story.
Have you prepared yourself? Well, what kind of preparation needs to take place?
Not sure. Time to find out.
Is it just the last... Huh. How has the compilation of history been going?
I came over with Angela this time. She says the time's come for this floor or whatevers.
Angela, I won't be afraid of facing you anymore. Do as you wish. I care little about what you think of me. What I want is a progress report of the compilation of history that you've been doing. I guess I knew too little about the city I lived in. I couldn't manage to compile a comprehensive timeline of the city's history. Perhaps it was an impossible task for an inept, talentless over-enthusiast like you.
Ouch.
All these big and small events seem to form a coherent history, but the gaps between notable events are just so large. I can't sort them out clearly. It's like no one properly remembers their history.
Or they could be refusing to remember.
Refusing to remember? Of course. Looking back at the things in the past won't help your present self one bit. But if we know our past, then we can avoid making the same mistakes. It could help to an extent. Is that truly worth being reminded of all the painful memories, though?
Like I said, people in the city barely have any time to reflect on themselves, and that time has only been getting shorter. So it's going to be even harder to read about things that happened before they were born, especially those that aren't directly related to them from their books. We can't make a book out of something no one knows.
No, I'm sure everyone knows their own history. They just lack the courage to face it. I'll make sure to remember and record everything and fill those gaps. The library, Lobotomy Corporation, and the things that happened before. All of this history inked with blood. Employees and abnormalities, countless repeats of agonies, deaths, and neglects. The library was built on top of their graves. And you are no exception, Malkuth. You're right. I'm no different from anyone else. And the same can be said for the rest of the city. All the things that we did with Carmen in my first life, all the things I did with you in my second life, I'll carve all that pain and sorrow on my heart. You're the one trying to run away from the past, Angela. You're refusing to face it. What's the point if all those pasts are going to be the same way anyway? Wait, so is she just saying that things are just going to repeat endlessly? They would all be minor variations of a human kills another and causes an event, resulting in a change. I suppose the library's history would stand out in that it's the non-humans that are killing humans. I fail to see the significance of the record you're trying to make. But even if the history that were a repeating cycle of similar events, you can't guarantee the future would be just the same. We can't let all the sacrifice and bloodshed go in vain, especially because history repeats itself. The blood spilt in the past opened up the possibilities of the future, so that the ones who survived can take those new paths. I'm sure your history began from such a path, Angela. That's easy for you to say. I cannot stand to hear you speak as if you know everything. Attain the will to stand up straight in ever-repeating history? My beginning. What makes you think that you're qualified to talk about my creation? Angela, you're the one refusing to confront your own beginning.
She's nothing at all like her. But and surely you already know, did you put all that work in just for a simple vending machine that dispenses soda at the press of a button? Maybe I did after all. But at the very least, you should give it a name. There's nothing I can do, even if you put on a face like that. It's an unspoken rule that the creator names their creation. I couldn't care less about a machine's name. Don't dump your job on someone else. You're the designer. There, the door over there. It'll be waiting for you. It seemed lonely. You're the machine that just let us out of the pits of hell. Angelos. Angela.
I remember you, Ian. You were a person with a warm smile.
It's only a machine. Ian, sir.
What did I do wrong?
Please understand, Angela. He's not yet ready. That is all. He just needs a little more time.
Benjamin, may I ask you a question?
Sure, I'll answer what I can.
Everything seems so slow to me. Your movements look so sluggish. The gestures, the speech, all of it, even my own body feels slow. It's as if my body cannot keep up with my mind.
And that's because you are designed to perceive time over 100 times slower, Angela.
Why is that?
You'll face lots of emergencies as you work, and you have to be the first to react to those situations, Angela. What's more, you'll vividly remember everything you see and experience.
I see. What will my work entail exactly?
You'll see soon enough. No, I suppose it won't be soon for you. I'm sorry, Angela.
Why are you apologizing to me?
I just feel we've done terrible things to you and that person. Here, let me tell you a few things about this corporation and the city. In the back streets, the likes of sweepers and fixers live out their lives tangled in vomit and waste, unraveling their sickening tales. Those who live in the outskirts are still crying out to break into the city. Meanwhile, people in the city throw away their lives trying to belong to a nest. And we're going to change that. We have a lot of tasks ahead of us.
Why do you refuse to look at me? Why do you always turn your back on me?
A machine must behave as a machine. Don't question it.
Then why did you give me the capacity to question things? Why did you have to make me, breaking the AI ethics amendment? Why did you have to model me after a person with fond memories of you? I am here, looking at you, and only you.
Don't look at me. Don't speak to me unless I speak to you first. You'll never be her. You're just a machine.
Benjamin, is it so wrong that I was born a machine?
Before Benjamin became old.
That's before Benjamin became old.
Whatever, man's just got natural old man voice. Don't question it.
He'll just have a little bit of a British accent, right?
I'll try. It could be a problem to some. I don't mind it in the least. To me, whether you're a machine or a human or not determines who you really are.
Then, if I worked hard to have a kind heart, will he look back at me?
Probably. Eventually.
I'll trust you, Benjamin. What is this? It's called a script. The things I must do. My purpose. If everything goes as you planned, can you really be redeemed from the hell that you're trapped in? There's no way that you would answer me.
What on earth did I just see?
These are Angela's memories.
You all right, Angela?
You got yourself lost in the vast sea of desolation, and now you think you can lecture me? Are you trying to boast to me that you had someone to look after you in the end?
Oh, damn.
Whoa, what? Costume change?
Yeah, she's a wizard now.
Don't be ridiculous.
Melkith, care to tell me what's going on right now?
Angela is resonating with the library. The library seems to be reacting to Angela's mental state. I don't exactly know what's happening, but at this rate... Must be nice to be you. Not be neglected at the end.
Don't tell me. Is that monster? No. That looks more like the case of the distortion.
That must be another side of Angela, manifested from her mind with the library's powers.
Looks mighty dangerous. What are we supposed to do now?
If her mind has physically manifested, Maybe we can resolve her concerns in a physical way, too.
So you're telling me that we can help her out by dealing with her like how we receive guests?
I'm not too sure myself, but there's only one way to find out. Angela, here I come.
Whoa, isn't that a little too reckless? Hi, okay.
Battle.
Battle. Oh, she's kind of, it's the matchstick girl. Last match flame. Okay, corrosion moves to the next phase after HP drops to 1. Lose 25% of max HP and get staggered. When an ally dies, lose 1 light upon getting staggered. Alright, let's see how this goes. But I got 5 this time, so that should be helpful. What's she doing? She's doing nothing, which is good. What are they doing?
Was it so hard to make another seat for me, join everyone else at that happy ending?
She sounds bitter.
Yep. If this matchlight goes out, nothing will be left for me. This isn't hot. It's cold, rather. So much that my heart aches. Everything that was bright will be reduced to ashes. Maybe I could be free after I've burned down all the things, and then myself.
Is it a 6 and a 7? Actually, this is fine then.
A small vengeance, a petty desire to burn everything the person who disregarded me, or disregarded something? I don't know. Some of the quotes are cut off at the edges.
Yeah. It'd be nice if there's like a menu that you could see. But, alas. Do we just tank it?
So is Angela going to be doing this at the end of every floor?
I think so, yes. That we are working through her myriad mental traumas.
Well, and all of the resentment and backstory she has with every single floor librarian.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yep. I'm gonna be able to pull that off. Let's try that one. Whee! Oh, they're durable. That is a concern.
And I assume that you had to use Malkuth and her group
Yes.
on this floor.
Yeah, I could have changed their builds though. That is the one thing that I could have maybe done here. Looks like we're doing fine though. What are they resistant to? Okay, so they're weak to blunt. Oh. Oops.
Ah.
That's not this team.
Not this one.
Nah. That's fine. Okay, what do we have? 4, so I can't do too much. Oof. Who's aiming? That one. These are 3s. That's a 6 going to that 2. Whoop. Let's see. Do we just... Oh.
So what do you think about that? The whole gathering and writing history. Angela had said something along the lines of, what gives you the right to write my past?
Yeah.
It almost makes me wonder about actual historians, or I don't know. I suppose even those people that like to pore over old, crime stories or histories, or make those little videos on like the history of this YouTube channel or other things. And it's just like, I suppose the thing is, an autobiography can be biased in that the person might try to embellish or make themselves seem a little bit more, I don't know, a myriad of things, like more responsible, more kind-hearted, they might gloss over negative aspects of their life, or they might lean into those negative aspects of their life to try to garner sympathy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you always have to wonder with an autobiography, I mean, you would assume that from the source, the things would be the most truthful, but people aren't necessarily certain that what they have as memories are even truth after a certain point. I actually really should take more photographs, because I remember, pouring through photographs that my parents have taken of our childhoods and such. And I mean, thank goodness I had a parent that was working for one of the largest companies that developed film and stuff, because it was just such a huge part of the culture of our families to have photos. But if we didn't have all those photos, would I be able to remember those specific days or events? Because I don't want to say that human brains are like hard drives and such, and you only have so much memory for things, but
I mean, we do.
To commit something to memory, you have to have an amount of space available for it, and you have to reinforce it. Facts like, can you think back to your history courses or literature and say, can you remember absolutely every single detail of a movie that you've seen? I remember at one point I'd memorized the entire script of Princess Mononoke, and I thought that was pretty impressive. And I could recite it from start to end. I can't do that anymore, but it's one of those things where as new information comes in, old information is no longer reinforced.
Going through every single one of the abnormalities.
Oh, why didn't he ever look at me? He always had his back towards me. I was looking at you and only you.
Yeah, so now you have the puzzle on the floor, and is it the bear?
Yeah, she's gone bear.
She's gone bear.
The red hairband. The only thing about me that resembles her. The only memory that connects.
Is that me?
Possibly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you have to model me after a person with fond memories of you?
Now she's called the Forgotten.
I'll only pursue the happiness I can have immediately.
Ooh, that's kind of sad, that bit. About pursuing the happiness that you can have immediately.
Yep.
That just leads to short-term gratification as opposed to building towards something that's long-lasting.
To be fair to Angela, she is a mentally ill robot.
No. I know. I'm just talking about as a general philosophy of approaching life. Because you know how there are the folks that say, oh, constantly live in the moment and stuff, but there has to be plans for the future. It's the old Aesop's fable of the ant and the grasshopper. If you guys aren't familiar with it, Aesop's fables are great. Aesop was man of ancient Greece. Unfortunately, he was thrown off a cliff because he besmirched some king or something back in the day. This was probably before, was it like 300 BC or something? But in any case, he was renowned far and wide as, a great teller of tales, of moral tales of these fables, usually featuring animals, and the animals usually get into a disagreement and there's a resolution, usually ill for at least one of the animals, but it's supposed to teach you a lesson. And in the case of the grasshopper and the ant, it was a grasshopper is lazing about in the sun, just enjoying life, and an ant is busily working, bringing food back to its colony. And the grasshopper is like, oh, it's beautiful outside. Why are you toiling so much? And the ant says, well, fall and winter will come at some point, and I want to be prepared. Oh, wait, is this the fairy version?
Fairies now.
Everything to care for you, only to fear that if I'm going to be left alone, I'd rather eat it all up.
Ooh.
Will a blessing come to me like a fairy if I worked hard enough to have a kind heart? Only in a fairy tale.
helping others with no compensation? The brightest desire for me, the one who has starved for so long. Blood spilt in the past opens up possibilities. That's nothing more than the leftovers of someone's something. And that's the thing. I don't like the fact that these quotes are getting cut off. Things to satiate my hunger. That's what it is. Nothing more, nothing less.
This sucks for me.
Yeah, so back to the story. So the ant's preparing for the winter. And the grasshopper's like, good luck with that. I'm going to enjoy life. Except then winter arrives and the ants have enough food stores and are inside their burrows, and the grasshopper is shivering in the cold and starving. And in some versions...
Woe is me, I am but a pitiful fool.
Huh?
I was just making fun of the grasshopper for being a dingus.
Yeah, and...
That's gonna hurt.
In some versions, the grasshopper is actually dying, and the ant walks by him, and they have their little exchange. Sometimes he's begging for food at the ant's doorstep. And usually it ends in an ambiguous fashion, like the grasshopper is probably going to die, or the ant isn't going to proffer any food for him. But essentially it's all about preparing for the future, that being idle now may have consequences or repercussions in the future. If I crammed all of it into my mouth, maybe my empty hope will be... And whatever it is, it disappeared. Nothing in this city is done with pure goodwill. I did everything to care for you, so it's only fair that I get something in return. Yeah, yeesh. That's a lot. But how do we get onto the topic of Aesop's fables?
I don't remember.
It was about preparing for the future. Oh, it was about the whole living in the moment or gratification.
Oh, right. She said she was going to just prioritize her own happiness.
Short-term happiness.
And we were just like, that's bad.
But also, okay, so the prior one was about history and who has the right to write history, and how autobiographies can be the best source of information about an individual because it's coming from the individual themselves, or it can be skewed and biased because they will try to make themselves seem better, more likely than not. At the same time, would outsiders truly have insight into their lives enough to write about them? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Because would an outsider know their motivations, or is it all just in reports or based on interviews or things that have been recorded before by other people? I think that's why I feel as though journal writing used to be huge.
Yeah, people don't write journals.
I don't think people write journals anymore. I write dream journals, so if I have a really cool dream at night, I will write them down because I think they're really fascinating and tell you a little bit about yourself, or at least your subconscious self. But so much of what we know about many individuals in the past is in letter correspondence and in journals. Because a lot of people they kept journals as far back as the Middle Ages or something. You understand what I mean? Though, Granted, a lot of those documents that survived from way, way, way back then were more like legal ledgers and things that the monks would be tasked with copying down or scribing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they had censuses and things like that so that you knew what the population of a town was like, or taxes, or local events. Newspapers have to be a wealth of knowledge. So the printing press probably made that possible, though. Do people really keep newspapers around? There's probably some aficionados out there that, you know, get newspapers and scan all of them. Or I know in my grandfather's case, he kept a lot of newspapers of very particular events. Like, say, 9/11 or something.
Yeah. I think the internet probably...
Except it's getting full of falsehoods now.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying that the internet is probably most directly responsible. Ooh.
Yeah, but we're going to need verification for what's true or not in the future. Not only with, like, the text and the provenance of the information, but then also even the imagery. For so long, a photograph was taken as truth, and now you can't even have that anymore. Even footage.
Yep.
So, history. And of course, people also they say the adage of history is written by the victors. Yeah, what other perspectives are lost to history because people didn't have the means to write down or preserve them in some form or respect. Also, thinking of libraries, you know how libraries have to constantly cycle out what books they have in store?
Yeah.
I wonder if there are ever any novels that are just lost. It's like, okay, they may have been popular enough to get into a library for a short period of time, but now they're off the shelf, maybe no longer in print. They might pop up at a thrift store every once in a while, but... And I know that there are people who are really big into archives and stuff, but I feel like that should always be with the consent of the creator of the work. Because otherwise it's distributing something without compensation. But yeah, history. Who gets to write history? That's a very interesting question. And so Angela was asserting that Malkuth was unqualified. Oh, she's the bee now.
Yep.
Hornet.
This is gonna hurt. Oh.
Corrosion.
But she doesn't apply spores.
No one is qualified to talk about my creations so lightly. I can't fly with ragged and tattered wings. Looking back on myself, it wasn't even so difficult to do.
Wait.
Why should I bother to look back in the past as full of suffering? I won't take any more orders from anyone. The place might go down in history. But, yeah, was what? I don't know what the rest of the line would be.
Sorry.
There can't be any meaning to history that repeats itself. No one remembers those who gave their efforts to raise the kingdom. The text is going across this, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's all on
and
the
now it's
wiki.
disappeared. Procure nutrients.
Yeah, turns out Angela's just hangry. She needed a snack. I'm gonna drink that. That is 7. That is a 7. Eh. Okay, what do I have? One net. Yeah. That is smidge weirder. Actually, do I want to roll the dice, see if I can get her with some paralysis? Yeah.
Looks like some of the worker bees are almost down.
Yeah.
Really the one.
Mean that I need to start hitting her though.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I take out all of the bees, she starts hitting me with like a kind of nasty status effect.
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of don't want to deal with.
Yep.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, for me, I find history really fascinating. Maybe it's because I grew up with a lot of historical movies and novels and such, but I think I really enjoy seeing what life was like for people even hundreds of years or even thousands of years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What concerned them, what their political squabbles were, what they dreamed, I suppose, in regards to their art, their literature, their culture, their creations. And I suppose to me, the act of remembering, or at least, you're not really remembering, it's not your memory, but preserving the knowledge of those people, it doesn't keep them alive necessarily, but it means that they existed and people recall their existence. But
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
mm-hmm.
But it might hurt her more than it hurts me. Ignore bees. Defeat Angela.
What do you think people will say of the modern era now, hundreds of years from now?
Yes, that's some questions.
It's something I think of often. I mean, I do think of when you dwell on history and you learn so much about historical figures and such, you have to wonder at your own legacy and the legacy of your time period.
Oh, here we go.
Whoa. Oh, wait, is this the Red Robin Hood or Red Riding Hood?
No.
Is this someone else?
Yeah.
My existence was born from a yearning and began as a curse that I served as a blessing to others. Oh, the Wall of Vines. Is she like a Queen of Hearts or something?
Yeah.
Kept and waited until the very last moment. That he will wake me up just once. That he will look at me even just a second. Oh, is she more like a Sleeping Beauty in this case?
Yes.
I'm no longer your mechanism. I'll embark on a journey. And I don't need a something. If I could just rot, what would this feeling, or would this feeling have bloomed into something newer? And is that pure?
Possibly.
Something weren't the ones waiting for the day to rot away and become fertilizer? A machine built from his obsession, sorrow, and anger. I couldn't walk out on my own, so the putrid things piled up around me. To be nice, to be you, not be neglected at the end.
Ow.
I don't know. I think people in the future, depending on where Earth has been taken, will probably look back at our generations and the few I would say this century. People would probably look back on the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century as a period of great growth, great progress, and then also rising inequality and at least environmental degradation to the point where they say, was it worth it? Was it worth it in the end?
All of these. Ow. I think we're doing
It was
fine.
interesting back when they were arguing about how they said the outsiders want to get into the city. The people in the city are desperate to be in the nest. It is just reflective of our own society, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that the people who are...
the game is very allegorical.
Well, yeah. Because I'm assuming that the nest would be to be among the rich.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it does... seems like there's a lot of struggle and desperation, feeling of lacking, feelings of want and desire and unfulfilled dreams. But the city crafted this system of strife and inequality. I suppose the question would be how to break a cycle like that.
Well, they were going to use weird techno magic, but Angela was like, nope, I'm sad now, and broke everything. This was a trial.
Well, you've gotten through the walls of vines.
Yep. Now she's toast. Set up. Ooh, they're down. Whatever, they've got plenty of HP.
I know that people make jokes about it, but they say that one thing that's going to at least be seen in the geological record, you know how that there's time before time that we can only find through rocks, right? That even if humanity has perished millions of years from now, humanity's sole remaining, I suppose, trace left over in all this will just be a fine layer of plastic.
Yeah.
Landfills of plastic that have been crushed into a plastic rock? I don't know. What would it become? Some kind of peculiar concrete of plastic?
Wow, she is very weak.
Okay, maybe millions of years plastic would finally be able to degrade, but I don't know.
I guess she would have to be weak, considering everything.
Oh boy.
Well, that worked out. I actually have like a lot of confidence in my ability to beat this game now.
Yeah.
Feels nice.
Yeah, I can ramble endlessly, and you're just knocking it out of the park.
Hey, Angela, it's time to wake up.
I can see what's happened, judging from my surroundings. Are you okay? Perhaps this is how it feels to have a dream, and to have a surge of emotions.
Dream a couple more times like that, you could bring down the whole library.
I guess I should worry about that.
Or should be sorry about that.
Or should be sorry about that. Sorry. Do you feel better now? What? Forget it. All this farce about neglect or recognition from others. I suppose it was futile to obsess over such trivial things in the first place. You're right. The only one who can truly care for you is yourself, after all. Again with the shameless lectures. I won't even expect anyone to look out for me from now on.
Well, good thing all's well that ends well. I was worried something bad might happen to you.
You mean you were worried that you might get stuck in the library forever?
Well, that's that, but...
Get back to work, the both of you. It's just as she said. I'm the only one who can care for me and recognize me as who I am.
Ooh, so we now have, for the rest of the act, inflict 6 blind to a random enemy at the start of the scene.
Ooh, malice, barrier of thorns, vines. Have we encountered this one?
No, so this was the abnormality we just beat. Effectively, by beating Angela, we get this one, which is Poisoned Apple, or I forget the name of it. When hit, 2 to 8 damage, and 1 to 3 bind to the attacker. 3 bind was inflicted at once.
Oh, it's Snow White.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying Sleeping Beauty before because it was about the waking up, but Snow White is also a story about someone being woken up.
Yep.
There are too many princess stories that deal with that.
Yeah.
But
oh, wait. Single ally. At the start of the scene, all enemies take damage inversely proportional to the amount of HP the librarian has left. Minimum 5, max 30. Less HP is more damage. Oh no, that's so good. Put that on Eugen and it just demolishes. Also, we get ego pages.
ooh,
So we get fancy pages related to, holy smokes, mass summation. Hits every enemy. Successful hit destroys the target's combat page or action die. Just big damage. On Clash Win, destroy all of the opponent's dice. Just so rude. On hit, recover 3 HP. Recycle this die unless it rolls a minimum value. So up to 5 times. 5 fragile next scene, or mass individual, just shoot them a bunch. Wow. Those are good. I look forward to figuring out how to put those into some of my decks and actually being able to afford them somehow. But for now at least, oh, no, these are the ego pages. Oh, so I don't put these in my deck. They just show, what? What?
but how do they show up?
I don't know. Malkuth, can you equip any of these things? Probably not. It would be like down here or lower. No, so, okay, so they show up probably after we've, like maxed out or something like that. I don't know. Either way, I'm very proud of myself. We cleared an entire floor. We still got a ways to go, but at least now we've got an entire team that can tackle a lot of harder challenges. And we should be able to clearly clean out the rest of Urban Nightmare and move on to the start of the city, which should be something. Kind of afraid about some of these, but I think it's just a matter of management. So for now, at least, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.